How's Houston been? How long were you there before you got back here?
I was there for 2 weeks doing shows before I got back to Austin, but I was out in L.A. for a couple months. And down in Bisbee for a little while, twice.
How long were you in Bisbee? Or were you just visiting, or were you actually like staying down there for a little bit?
Visiting.
Okay.
Yeah, visiting. I had a show with David Jolly, and I got invited to kind of stay for Super Bowl weekend and did Doug's podcast.
Yeah, because you're connected to Doug and kind of his whole crew and have been for a while, right?
Yeah, since around 2016 when I first went down there.
Nice.
I've been friends with a lot of them for a long time, and but this is my first time ever on the Doug Stanhope podcast, and I was really fucking stoked on that.
Oh, that's cool as shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking excellent.
And then I was out in L.A. drying out, not drinking, trying to changing habits and stuff.
Yeah.
And being down there for Super Bowl was...
Which is wild, because that is the opposite of the reason that anybody else goes to L.A. Going to L.A. to get sober is, you were the first person to ever do it.
That's a big oxymoron.
It's a terrible drinking town. And everything's so far apart. I mean, unless you're about drinking and driving or have unlimited money
have
for Ubers.
to drive you.
But down there for Super Bowl, they made a real gag out of like teasing me and stuff, strengthening me up to be around alcohol again. And
gotta test those waters.
And then when I was coming back to Texas, I hit Doug up and to see if he wanted me to maybe stop by and do a free show for him and his friends, and he put me on a show he was already planning to do, and had to follow him and Andy Andrist and Christine Levine, Gary Lucy, Chad Shank, like the whole gang down there.
Stacked lineup.
Yeah, and I get down there, I go, well, where am I in the lineup and how much time am I doing? And they're like, well, you're closing. I was like, okay.
All right.
But that show was great. It was the second time I ever played the Funhouse, and he's got it set up as like a showroom now, and it's really fucking cool.
Interesting. Yeah, I've never been out there, but I've heard really, really good things about that spot.
And got back to Texas and just been doing shows all week, every week, ever since.
Yeah, you did Dress to Kill last night. You looked great.
Dude, that was so much fun. You guys packed out Roscoe's. That was my first set in a club since I've been back in Austin. So much fun.
Nice. That was your first one. Very good. Yeah, Dress to Kill has been popping the fuck off.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
It's going.
That lineup was
going
insane,
national.
man.
Dude, the lineup last night was so good. The audience was so good. And
Who all was on it last night?
It was Hunter Gasaway, then Clemente,
Nice.
Katie Felton, Keith, myself, A.D. Hodge, and then Connor. And Hunter started off strong. He's a great host. He's got great energy. He's likable, and he's fucking funny. He's a good comic too. But being a good host is like a different skill. Like, you have to be a good comic to be a good host. You know what I mean? But just because you're a good comic doesn't mean you're a good host.
Yeah, it does not always translate. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's a lot of people. I put myself in that category as well. I've never been great at hosting, but obviously I'm an amazing comic. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how are both those things true? You know?
Well, you don't have that flashbang energy.
I do not at all. Yeah, none of my personality is built for that.
Yeah,
it's not.
You're built for middle of the road, like, because you're slower, your jokes are more drawn out, you take people on walks, you know what I mean? You're not just like snip, snap, jokey, joke. You got stories to tell and stuff. So it fits better in the middle, sandwiching you between some people who are maybe more high energy and shit, you know what I mean? It keeps it going up and down. It's kind of how you want the show to flow, right?
Yeah. You don't. You also don't want to stack too much of the exact same thing back to back. That's a lot for an audience to try to consume.
You need somebody like you to balance out a Casey Rocket, right?
Yeah.
Like, you need that. You need that energy to balance each other out.
Yeah, unless it's like a specific show you're going to see certain people. If it's just a general comedy show, you want to provide some variety. But also the other side, not too much, because then that's also too much for the audience.
Right.
To try to like deal with, okay, now I got to be into this thing that's not anything like the other thing that I just saw.
It can't contrast too hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely some balance to be found there. But yeah, to his
That's
point,
what it's all about in life, man, is balance.
Yep. Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, in all facets, everything is better with some balance, man.
Speaking of balance.
Did you hear about
oh yeah, let's get our equilibriums.
I hear that there's
Straight.
like this sandwich that's really good, and it seemed very well balanced to me. Oh, is that thing?
Yeah.
Very cool.
What sandwich?
It's got like prosciutto and blackberry jam, and then brie on it, and I was like, now that seems like a well balanced sandwich.
Brie like the cheese?
Yep. I love cheese.
He did it. He tried to sip it.
Yeah, don't sip that one. There's water in that, buddy.
Put
Hit
your
it
mouth
like
on
a bong.
Like a bong, and hit it.
There you go.
There you go.
Oh, that works.
Yeah, it works like all smoking devices have always worked.
That's why it's my favorite, because it absolutely confounds people who have been smoking their entire lives.
But this one has water. Don't try and drink that.
Also, who was it that drank it? Was it Clay? I think it was
Maybe.
Clay. Fucking straight up drank some of the but I think it was fresh.
Did Mike Eaton?
Oh my god, that would be amazing. I would love to see Mike Eaton drink this, but like on purpose.
Yeah, he would do that on purpose for sure as a gag. Well, because it will make you fucking
It
gag.
will make you gag.
It's disgusting. Don't drink bong water.
So
It's good to have you back in town, man.
Yeah, I'm so happy to be back in Austin. Everything has just been stellar. My reception here in town has just made me feel so good.
Yeah,
and,
distance makes the heart grow fonder.
it certainly
yeah.
does. Yeah.
Well, I needed to dry out, but nobody ever got on me for smoking too much reefer, so I thought, I'd probably
Yeah, when
keep
that
as
when
part
that
of my
becomes
life.
a problem, that's the difference.
Yeah, can you believe this Keith Ray he's going around sitting there smiling and shit?
Yeah, he's hungry sometimes.
Goddamn
Yeah.
Keith being open-minded and loving. How dare he? The
What's
fuck?
this asshole doing?
He said something really nice to me the other day. I'm getting tired of it. Somebody needs to tell him to back off that weed.
Keith was being really selfless the other night at Creek.
So, what were you expecting a little bit more resistance when you came back?
Well, no, it's not. It's not that. It's just when you are really a mess, you know, like it's not that you think you're keeping it together, but you're not. And so if you think that you're keeping it together, then you probably don't really know in all how you're fucking up.
Yeah, how bad it is because you can't see it.
So like I'm kind of waiting for people to tell me what the fuck I did to them that made them mad or whatever, because now they see me with clear eyes and they're like, hey, in October you said this, it was rude as fuck. And I'm like,
Yeah.
don't remember. But
But now people feel like they can talk to you because before it's like talking to a brick wall. I know
Yeah.
what it's like being around somebody who's a heavy alcoholic like that all the time and trying to like let them know the next day, like, hey, and it never really sits with them,
Yeah.
But after a little while, if you to get through the first few months of quitting drinking, if you're a hard drinker like I am, hitting a joint will kind of satiate that, like.
It kind of levels it out in the beginning.
the Jones, but then after a while, it just goes right back to making a choice. Is your choice to drink or not drink? And I have seen such positive results from quitting drinking. I don't see this new lifestyle change reverting anytime. I just really like how I live now. And but now I smoke pot when I'm in the mood to, not to avoid craving alcohol.
Well,
Yes.
you survived the weekend. You got through, Dressed to Kill last night without drinking with all of us like we always do. You went to fucking Mothership and hung out with Jelly Roll and Carrie Mitchell and all your favorite people, and you managed not to fucking, those are big those are tests.
I'm
in
being
your
all
passing
around.
So far.
I'm around alcohol every night as a performer.
Sure.
So that's why, like, really taking some time to focus on myself was really necessary.
And separate yourself.
Separate myself from my routine, from the comedy life that I was familiar with. Having basically taking my shoes off and getting in some different grass. You know, like being back out in L.A., you have to get used to the new terrain under your feet. You have to learn and going around town figuring out how to do stand-up out there again after the pandemic and all that, because my only experience out there was pre-pandemic, so all I
so
really knew were...
you missed that weird middle space. So you're coming back for the first time post all of that
since the
shit.
shutdown. I was there during the
and
shutdown,
it's different,
but
completely.
The only thing that is the same is the improv and the Comedy Store. So, but finding any other stage time in Los Angeles, which is necessary, you can't just show up in LA and work the best clubs on the West Coast.
You got to work up to that shit.
It was a lot of finding new and adventuring, and boy, is that a good way to occupy your mind. You know, having a fresh task
and putting yourself in a position where you have to adapt every day anyway, kind of makes it easier to adapt to the new reality that you're trying to create.
Yeah.
Because everything around you is different. So it's like, it might as well make this thing different too, because everything else is.
I mean, I was at a place where if I walked from the bridge to the clubs downtown in Austin, I could stop off and get 6 free drinks.
Yeah.
By the time I made it to the first club.
Which is cool, but super dangerous.
But because of my relationships with the people that work downtown, and I was loved by these bartenders up and down the block.
Well, that's one of the biggest.
But now they've all been fired.
They're gone. Yeah, it's been a couple months.
So they're all working different bars now.
Somewhere else. They're on West 6th and East 6th and Rainey and everywhere else that isn't where you're at.
Exactly.
That's one of those.
Or they've
problems.
been promoted to manager.
Right. So now they have to take their job seriously, and they can't be giving out free
now.
Drinks.
They're like, free drinks. Fuck you.
No.
Yeah, that's one of those things that's on the other side of, like, when people talk about addiction and enabling, it's typically like the people closest around you that you're like, well, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you do something? But
everybody in my life said something.
But the issue is, especially with alcohol, our society supports that issue so naturally.
It's so normalized, yeah.
And like, if you drink a lot, you're fun. And so people want to get, you know what I'm saying? They want to get the train fired up. And it's an amusing thing for a lot of people to be around. The downsides of it, most people don't see. And so it's an addiction that gets fed by everyone around you as you're in the middle.
Well, as somebody who's been pretty drunk since he's about 15 years old, I've been drunk longer than I was than the amount of time before my first drink.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's more normal than the other reality.
I mean, I was drunk on the reg since I was 15, and I'm 32 now, and this is the first time in my life I've gone, this is 102 days today without a drink, and that's the longest I've ever been.
Since you started?
Since I started, yeah.
Fuck. Yeah.
And congratulations.
This 3 months... Dude, thank you. Because this 3 months, it got all the big things out of the way. You know, death in the family. My birthday is my first birthday, not drunk since I was that young. Since I was 14. That was the last time I had a sober birthday. And then, St. Patrick's Day. Like the first.
Shit, it's Cinco de Mayo right now.
Yeah.
And we're not fucking wasted on tequila.
Yeah. Damn. Yeah. But
this is the first podcast you've done with us not drunk.
St. Pat's is like St. Pat's was like my Christmas. You know.
Yeah.
For years.
Yeah.
Like that's the holiday that I look forward to, where everybody's like me, and I was like, oh, that's fucking. But you get to a place when you're like a long-term permanent drinker where you like. Look down on people who go out and blow it out and have a fun day on St. Patrick's Day, because it's like, oh, look at this shit show over here.
Yeah.
But that's probably how you should drink.
Yeah.
is to blow it out once in a while and have a good time, not, maintaining a 10 drink a day lifestyle. I would tell people.
I would generally agree with that. Yeah.
I used to tell people 10 drinks a day. Now that's the perfect amount. And I never got any positive feedback from anybody I told that.
Not one.
Didn't recognize that as any kind of a sign either.
You were like, what your problem is? You're not drinking enough. That's why you can't see this the way I do.
But yeah, I'm sitting here getting high with you guys, so I guess I gotta say, sobriety's great.
Right? It's not so bad these days. Yeah, old school sobriety's a bitch, but
yeah, modern sobriety is great. You can still do mushrooms and ketamine and smoke weed. It's a good time.
it's a good, it really.
I don't want nothing to do with fucking ketamine. That drug sucks.
You wouldn't do like ketamine treatment, like a legitimate therapy?
No, but I did
because they're all over town. We can do that.
Yeah, there are options.
We got you a gift certificate.
There's so many options.
We don't have to snort it anymore. No,
we figured it was either that or a round of golf.
I don't want to sound conservative in any way, but I don't think that like places where you can just go get shot up with downers is necessarily a good thing to have on the corner. I
don't want to sound conservative in any way.
Ever.
You think we should have Soma clinics at the fucking every shopping center? Why not?
Yeah.
You think that's bad?
That seems to take escapism to another level.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole thing. We've maxed out the level that we're at currently.
This
and
is
gotta
why
go to a new level.
This is why ketamine is a shit fucking drug, and I've done all of them, so I'm definitely a
All
good
of the
person.
shit drugs.
I've never really liked ketamine except the times that I've done like prescription medical ketamine.
It's a
Anytime I've done like
dissociative.
street K that
You don't need to
you snort.
It's a
Hated it.
dissociative, dude. You don't need to disassociate. You need to associate. People
Yeah, it's
are
a horse tranquilizer.
Yeah, that's not. That's what. It's the opposite of mushrooms. Mushrooms make you realize we're all one. This makes you as solo dolo as you can possibly be. Fuck
Yeah,
that
but under the
noise.
right supervision and with the right intentions, people are able to step back from their consciousness and their ego and look at it from a third-party perspective. And that's really helpful for a lot of people to
Is that-
cure depression, anxiety.
Is that really
PTSD.
true?
Yeah.
It is
Or
absolutely.
Is that just what you
is-
think is true because you just got really fucking high?
And you felt good? No,
Yeah.
here's the thing. It is true, but I think the greater issue with that is the same thing as like the Ozempic, Wegovy, all that kind of shit. It's like there are ways to cheat. Like we can bioengineer ways to cheat our way to a solution. The problem is humans need the process.
Yeah, we need the real solution.
We absolutely require the work that it takes to get to a solution, not just the solution. So anytime
I'm not
you
denying
skip,
that the inner work isn't necessary. That you're not just going to do ketamine and just magically, I'm cured. Like you still have
but
to
there
do
are
the work.
a lot of people that do
that
that's
think
it.
that.
That's
Right,
their
sure.
only.
And same goes for ayahuasca, where
And you're not
people's
actually
like, I
doing
did
any
it.
kind of meditation.
I'm
You're not
cured.
doing any kind of internal work to
Right,
actually.
yeah.
But the reality is, you can do it the long way and skip those that you know what I'm saying. Like that's the thing that monks have been doing for centuries. You know what I'm saying? They're getting fucking blasted off of just their own brain.
Yeah.
That takes a lot more work, a lot more time and effort, and most people don't have the drive to do that. And I also recognize that
And a lot
like,
of those are
we're
people
busy.
that
People are
didn't-
busy. They've got shit to do.
Yeah. Those
and,
are also-
and ketamine is something you can do in an afternoon, not a week-long process.
Right. I think that you could use it. You could balance the two, right? You could have that process that you're talking about, but in the intermediate, you could use ketamine occasionally and do like a legitimate treatment. You shouldn't be going every fucking week to get ketamine therapy. You shouldn't be snorting ketamine every night. It's going to put holes in your bladder. That's what happens. But I think it can be used as a tool, as, a helper every once in a while, right? It's like you're not going to take a bath with bath salts every night after the gym, but fucking once a week.
I
Once
think
every 2
well,
weeks.
and
That's
it's
pretty
it's
goddamn
the
good for your muscles. That
well, it's
feels
the-
good. That it helps get you to where you're trying to go. It helps.
Yeah, and it's the same as the other example I gave. Like there are some people who are so overweight that like you can't. You know what I'm saying? Like you need this, as an emergency measure
kickstart,
to get to the point where you can do it on your own. Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. That's a reality.
But I'm not
the
denying
problem
that
is
it can be
most
abused.
people will just use the easy thing that does it for them forever.
Right,
Which is what addiction is.
Right.
It's just the
Without doing the work.
I have this thing that fixes right now my problem.
That's one thing. You use that word addiction, and I really don't believe in it. I believe in chemical dependency, but once you shake that shit out of your system, you have a choice. And if you don't want to prioritize that, or you want to go ahead and give in and say that you made the choice, take responsibility for your choices.
Yeah.
And addiction is just another loophole for people to get out of taking responsibility for their actions. And you can become chemically dependent. I definitely was chemically dependent on alcohol. But once you get over that 3-month hump, you start really feeling differently.
Outside of the physical dependency, it is a choice for sure. Yeah,
and
when you're in the middle of it, it can be all encompassing in a way.
It'll
that
turn
is,
mental, and that's what people associate with this concept of addiction, is that like the mental drive to go back to doing it and all this. But like, once your body no longer needs the chemical to feel okay,
I don't know if that's true, man. I
brain-
still think about smoking crack pretty often, and I get really bad anxiety, and I go through all sorts of fucking feelings and emotions and all
but
sorts
you
of
choose.
sensations.
But you make the choice not to. So you ain't no slave. You ain't no addict.
So I agree with the idea that,
but the cravings still come, and I associate. Yes, I choose not to abide by those cravings, but I still think that's part of the addiction. It's just something I have to live with. I'm a crackhead. I'm not an active crackhead anymore, and that's fucking great. But I have to know that about myself to keep myself from falling back into that trap.
I will say this, as somebody who is deeply, heavily addicted to a meth, a very hard substance,
Extremely addictive substance.
that is very difficult to get away from, but I have successfully done that. There is a time period where I think you do need to identify that, like, this is a thing that has a level of hold on my life, and I have to treat it that way.
Right.
But I also recognize, being a decade plus removed from that reality, that there is also a danger in staying in that place.
When did you get get over the hump to where you were like, look, stinking thinking comes and goes, but like, I make the choice to live this life that I'm in right now?
Well, ultimately,
because that sounds like you eventually realized that you've beat, like, just like I think Scott has thoroughly beat this. You are in a place where every time that you get that kind of like, I need this, you are choosing not to. Well, and that means you're not addicted to it.
Ultimately, addiction is just a shield that we put up because of something else, right? So until you identify what causes you to need that thing in the first place, you will always go back to it.
Yeah.
But it's not just as simple as identifying it. Then you have to fucking break it down and deal with it, and then
sometimes just live with it. That's the other thing, is you're not willing to live with the thing, the dread, the despair, the fucking hurt, whatever the thing was that happened, so you just mask it behind.
Yeah, and ultimately the addiction is just the trigger in your brain that knows that when I feel that, if I do this, that goes away.
Right. Yeah.
And you've just got to find a way to replace that, because ultimately you're right. There's not like, when you, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of range of reasons why people have addictions, but for me and for most of the people that I know that deal with it, it's because of fucked up things that happened when you were young, in a time where it was difficult to comprehend what was happening and also understand why it was happening to you. And for that reality, there is no cure. I can't go back and undo the things that were done to me as a child. I do have to live with that reality for forever. It's just undoing the trigger in my brain that says when I feel that way, I do meth.
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
Yeah.
And because I will never get rid of that completely.
Well, this translates, or I'm sorry, what's the word? You guys got me high.
Yeah, as we talk about addiction.
Oh yeah, welcome to the Stoney Baloney podcast.
Welcome,
Keith, right?
Keith.
Yeah.
It's your third appearance?
Yeah.
Yeah. This is the first episode of Stoney Baloney I've ever been on. I was always on Funky Drunky.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Funky Drunky is no more.
Retired.
We hung the jersey up in the rafters.
We need to have a Funky Drunky jersey up top. Yeah. I like that.
Or at least a banner.
With .014
Yeah.
for my that's what I blew when I got my DUI. Shout out to the Van Nuys Police Department.
Repping the set.
Long time ago. Anyway, that segues perfectly, not translates, segues perfectly into my story. Do you want me to tell you my story?
Yeah, about bad decisions you made while you were drinking. And what her name was?
Yeah, and I'll talk about bad decisions while I was smoking crack and what her name was.
Yeah.
Yes. I met Shannon Irene Law in.
It's gonna be a long one.
Oh, the saga begins.
In January of 2019.
Mm-hmm.
And I had just kind of washed out from a project I was working on out in Los Angeles, and I was regrouping, and I was staying with my folks down in Galveston, and I was living. I had a budget. I had some savings, and I turned my savings over to my pops because, I have a bad spending habit.
You?
And I told him, you can only give me $10 every day until I get a job. Please.
The problem is I keep spending my money on my habit. That's
Yeah, I can live on $10 a day. I have, and this, so just give it to me. I have $300, so give me $10 a day. I can get a job in 30 days. That was, boy, getting better at talking as this goes on.
You should see me in just real life sometimes.
Yeah.
You should have seen us in Denver. I forgot what words. I think I have early onset dementia from Denver for 1 week.
Absolutely. From that one pot of chili.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
We made 1,000 milligram pot of chili the day before 420.
Yeah.
And we each ate 2 bowls. And then we were like, well, now what do we do? So we went and worked out.
Just made it metabolize quicker. That was an intense 6 to 7 hours.
Dude,
that was a lot.
Getting that high and having chili shits, I don't know.
Yeah. It's like a tradition for Gabe and I.
Yeah.
He gave me medicated chili when we were first becoming close friends. He fucking brought me some medicated chili, and when he gave it to me, he was like, "Don't eat all of this at once."
See, that's weird.
And
chili
gave it
is
to
not
me.
something that you want to just have 2 bites of. You want to eat the whole bowl.
Yeah.
That's the fun.
You're-
And then the next day,
so
you're
that's
fucking.
what makes you such a dick in this situation.
Yeah, and also I make a damn good chili, so you're gonna want to eat it all. Yeah.
Yeah, it's spicy and it's fucking heavily medicated.
Yeah.
So you will be stoned the next morning when you wake up to take a fiery shit, and I hope that you left toilet paper in the freezer.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know not to eat Gabe's chili now.
It took a lot to get Connor to trust us that Gabe was going to make a batch
I literally
of
made him a
sober chili.
separate batch with nothing in it, and he stood over my shoulder and watched me the whole time. Like, what was that?
And,
What'd you just put in it?
in Connor's defense,
It's a spice. Can't you see what's in it?
You think I went to the plant and squirted weed in the spices before I bought them?
in his defense, though, we did smoke one of the infused blunts or joints with him right before that. And Connor's not a smoker, so
we got him
a
good
couple
paranoid.
puffs off an 88% infused goddamn blunt, and Connor's to the moon. He's listening to Grateful Dead just in his subconscious. You know what I mean? He's just Franklin's Tower chilling on the couch, man.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm trying to talk about my ex-wife and be vulnerable. We're getting away from
That's what
this.
we're doing.
Yeah, we're trying to loosen you up.
Oh, I did it. I finally did it.
Is the hash fine?
Yeah, it's good. Fortunately, there's not much water.
I'm just I don't want to mess this story up because I'd like to tell it right for once.
Fucking yeah, but we're gonna interject.
Oh no, I know that.
We're gonna interject. We always do
That's the way this works.
I was just like, where am I?
You're gonna interject in my story, and I'm gonna get irritated too. So you know what I mean.
So are we pausing for this cleanup right here?
Nah, keep it going.
No, it's natural. This is real. This is raw. Monday night roll, Sunday afternoon, but
Stoney
still.
Baloney.
Okay, so how do I? Okay, so
You're living off $10
So
a
we're
day. You're
$10
giving your
a
dad
day.
$300. I can get a job within a month.
yeah.
And you think I can live off $10 a day? Cigarettes only cost what, $5.64 at this point in time?
Oh no, I was buying $3.50 packs of cigarettes.
There we go.
They had real cheap ones down there. I mean, this is before inflation was crazy. You could find discount cigarettes. So that left me like what, $7 or $6 and change.
$6 and change.
And
Now you can get a bologna sandwich.
no,
Where were you living?
in Galveston, in my parents' guest room.
Okay, all right. So you didn't have to worry about like rent payment. So it was
No.
literally just like feeding yourself and getting.
I just
around.
am getting a job so I
Okay.
can get the
Cigarettes and
money.
beer.
Yeah, I'm just getting a job so I can get some money stacked up to go back to LA.
How are you getting 10 drinks out a day out of $7? Because you're not paying for any of them.
Because he's got hot girl tendencies.
That's right.
Well,
Because he's going to the bar and being a Keith and fucking finagling
Winking
people.
at fucking bartenders and shit.
You're like my grandpa, man. My grandpa was like that. He never paid for drinks either, and it was just because he was so fucking cool and talked to everybody.
I paid for drinks. But the thing is, yeah,
but also your personality garners free drinks. That's not a put down. I don't mean that as a put down.
No, that's a.
so I go get some smokes. and
Comparing to my grandpa is a cool thing.
okay, 'cause I would ride my bicycle to the bar, and I was friends with the janitor at the bar. Her name was, she's real cool. And by real cool, I mean she was as dour a drunk as I'd ever met. Like, she did not smile, and she didn't like polite
Ever.
conversation.
Just never smiled. Oh my
Did
God,
not
that's
have
fantastic.
polite conversation. She loved me, though. That's the thing, because I would come and sit with her and be sad and mad, just like her.
And she's like, more of this.
And she's like, oh, this is our negative energy end of the bar. This is where we sit.
Nice.
And people would come up to that had known her for years and be like, hi, how are you? And she'd be like, she'd growl at people. And so she became my best friend.
Yeah.
And yeah, because I was, let's just say, not in the best place ever. You know, I was a 27, about to be 27-year-old man living at home, riding a bicycle. And I was still doing stand-up up in Houston every week. But, yeah, times were kind of, they had dollar shots at that bar too, so you could drink the dollar shots. I was in there every day, and I met this lady, her daughter, and I didn't like her because she reminded me of my mom after the divorce, and we just didn't get along, and we scowled at each other all the time. And I mean, my homie is the janitor lady, sweeps the bar for free beer, and growls at people, and she don't like her, so I don't fucking like her either.
I've already picked sides. I'm on this side. I can't be friends with
So
you
you're
now.
growling too, you know?
Yeah, we growl at you. We're not friends, and
That's a clear sign of lack of friendship. If I'm growling at you, just know.
Yeah, that's universal. You can do that in Japan, and
That's true.
you know what I mean?
I got a job
I mean, not legally. You can't do that in Japan
after a couple weeks.
without a license.
Not unless you're 16.
And this is a bar with dollar shots and $2 beer. So, like, as soon as I got a job, it was like I was fucking a kingpin, you know, at the bar.
Yeah.
Like, oh, big money picking up dog shit as a porter down at the apartment complex, walking into this bar, got a strut in my step, you know. Oh, I got enough money. I'm making enough I can drink and save.
It's amazing no matter how shitty the job is, once you get one, when you haven't had one, you're like, I'm the fucking man, dude.
Yeah.
Even if you're picking up dog shit at a fucking apartment complex, I got money in my pocket.
I got money, exactly.
I can afford a girlfriend now.
Yes. Well, that's where we're getting to. So, I went to the bar for my birthday after I went and did a show at the Secret Group, and I'm sitting there, and Shannon comes up and sits down next to me, and she's like, "What are you doing after this?" And I was like, "Going home." And she's like, "Yeah, that sounds like fun. I'll do that with you."
All right, that's a good start.
And you know, kind of
the ideal response. What are you doing? I'm going home. It sounds fun. I will be there with you. Cool.
And you know, when you're a single person on your birthday and somebody just throws it at you,
Oh, you're catching.
Yeah, you
yeah.
take it.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like this bitch, you know, because she just lost her kids to CPS for leaving them in the fucking car while she's getting shit-faced in the bar with me and the growling lady.
But isn't that exactly the reason to like her? The kids are gone. You know what I'm saying? This bitch got rid of the kids. That's the type of chick I want to hang out with at a bar. You know what I'm saying? One that's already taken care of the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
No.
someone that reminds me of my mom. Gabe hurt his head laughing at my joke.
This was too vulnerable a fucking story for this
Freud.
fucking podcast. I'm just kidding. No, it's fucking.
No,
it's
you sensitive baby.
It's bonkers.
Give me a kiss.
We hated each other. Then she put it on me on my birthday, and I just immediately forgot what a shitty person she was.
Yeah, that's the magic of pussy. Yeah, that's how it works.
Red flag, where? I see red thong.
But no.
There.
But actually, you know, things were really good because, you know, we got married the next day. And I moved her in, and
Because you were married.
well, yeah,
You're not going to make your wife sleep somebody else.
just moved her into
Somebody-
And
my.
he's got
Whoa,
$10 a
careful.
day savings for a month plus pooper scooper job, so he
Yeah.
can support a wife at this point in
Yeah.
his life.
Yeah.
No, I'm starting to realize the reason I chose this story to tell is because it's tremendously embarrassing, and people watching you guys laugh hysterically at what a tremendous piece of shit I am is going to be really entertaining. But that doesn't feel good when you're this high on marijuana. So if people like I'm just gonna kill all the awkward in this right the fuck now.
That's fair.
Because I'm feeling that.
You knew when you were
know,
coming on, this wasn't Oprah, and you were gonna I'm gonna tell a heartfelt story.
No,
and
I
Gabe
knew
was kind of
that.
like,
I knew that, but the pot made me like, ooh, you're being awful truthful.
no, you're yourself. You're inspiring.
So-
you make me remember that try to deny my roots sometimes and church it up instead of be fucking dirt.
Yeah.
Be dirt, not
This is-
dirty.
al-
It's
also-
okay to have a fucking past. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? That's part of what made you you.
Well,
Also,
and the
this
thing
story
is-
is not entertaining because we're making fun of you. This story is entertaining because it's relatable. Because
Everybody's done
You're not the
fun.
one person who's been in this scenario. We've all been in a version of this scenario. That's why it works.
And also, here's the thing. Like I said, my initial thought of this woman was that she's a fucking piece of shit and fuck her. Her mother is the woman that growls at people. Did she ever have a fucking chance?
Yeah, that's fair.
I have.
That's very
So
fair.
this is not me. This story is not about dogging on her at all. Because not only is she the best piece of pussy I've ever fucking had in my life, and if you know anything about me, you know I'm addicted to that too.
we're laughing because it's funny because it's fun. It's a fun story.
I have a chemical dependency on pussy.
You think my story isn't fucked up? You think Gabe doesn't have a fucked up story?
Yeah, you have a pH imbalance.
Yeah, I have this dry dick syndrome. There's only one cure for it.
Direct application.
So, yeah, but when I say we got married, what I mean is we got all gussied up and went around to the bars telling people that we had gotten married and drinking free drinks. And we did that at every bar in Galveston for an entire fucking week and called it our honeymoon.
Yeah.
But really, we just hustled a bunch of tourists out of getting us shit-faced everywhere we went. We went and had free dinners everywhere.
Yeah.
We're just lying to people that we had gotten married starting from our second date to a week later.
Because that's a fun trick, but the extra element is that you're in a tourist town. Because real quick, you try to pull that for a couple of days in a place where people know you, and everybody's gonna be like, "No, you fucking, no, you're not." But a town full of tourists, everybody's like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
we're here for a wedding anyway. Let's buy us." That's fucking beautiful. That works every night at every bar.
We drink at the local spot with the $2 beer and the $1 shots, the fucking Jello shot, fucking. There's gun holes in the fucking drop ceiling shithole bar. And we're going to all the fun, nice places, all dressed up, telling people we just got married and reaping all the reward. I'll tell you.
The great part about that is too,
if you're free for a week,
if you're a local, if you're a local doing that in a tourist town, the bartenders know you. And if you're cool with them, they'll just fucking go in on your line because
somebody's buying drinks, and that's what they're there for. Yeah,
exactly. They're like, oh yeah, they did just get married. These are our. This is the.
I was new in town.
Finally, oh my god, we've been waiting for you guys.
I was new in town, so that also added an element there. If they had suspicions, how do you fucking know?
Yeah.
So. Yeah. So then,
which another added benefit? You're new in town or visiting town. People want to show you how cool their town is. Come get free drinks. They take care of you. They try to show off their town and make you want to fucking stay.
And during this time, like the first few months that we were together, things actually were really good. In fact, things even got better between her and her mom because, I'm friends with her mom and she. Of course, loves her mother and wants to have a relationship there.
Yeah, who doesn't?
Even if it is a very cranky, mean-spirited woman.
As they tend to age into.
Yeah. So that was our honeymoon, but the honeymoon phase of our relationship was very good, and she also proved to be a very good person, was doing all the things she could to try and get her children back. The only problem was she was in poverty, did not have steady work in her life. And because she was so drunk, she couldn't really find a job and stuff. And eventually she started doing your old drug of choice, crystal meth. And that's when our relationship started being a real fucking tornado. Because, when she was a slurry beer drunk, she was like a fucking great gal. I really enjoyed.
She was a fun hang.
Yeah. We were happy together, and she was doing good things. Still haven't had a lot of positive things going in her life. But when she sold her car for meth, it all went to shit. She started being a bicycle person. You know about bicycle economy if you've ever done methamphetamine.
Bicycle economy.
Yeah, a bicycle is worth $10. $10 is 2 teeners of meth or a pack of cigarettes in a bump. You got everything is based on $5 at a time. 2 quarter pints of vodka. The 2 for $5s. These are all units of measurement for currency in meth bicycle economy. And she was Like she had all the coolest bicycles. Once you become a bicycle thief, you always have a really dope bike for yourself.
Yeah, the best one, obviously, you're gonna pick for you because they're
And-
coming in and out.
And I'm just like, I can't be letting you store all these stolen bicycles at my house. This is not even my house.
How many? What do you think is the most that you had there at any given time?
13.
Oh shit, that's a lot of fucking bikes.
There's no hiding that from mom and,
And
dad.
she's making me work on them when I'm not. I had switched to waiting tables at that point. And
You're a
now
bicycle mechanic now.
I'm working on these fucking bicycles for her all the time, and I'm not on meth. I'm fucking tired from work. And you know, but she's putting it on me like a fucking bunny rabbit, and
Yeah, like she was on meth.
yeah,
Because here's the thing, vaginas still work on meth.
fuck yeah, they do.
Yeah, yeah. Dicks, not so much.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was just
You weren't on
I
it.
was just drinking and doing stand up in Houston and waiting tables on the beach and swimming every day. Just trying to get some money together at this point to get us a place to live. I had decided I was going to be a Houston comic and live in a bungalow down on the island and just do stand up in Houston and work the road from Texas. And we were going to live together. And I had gotten up, well, I don't want to skip over a pretty funny part of our relationship is like, even when she was just drunk, she went to jail a lot.
How often is a lot?
Well, we were together for 7 months, and she went at least 20 times.
What the fuck? That's excellent. Those are good numbers.
Yeah, the
Professional.
That's once a week, basically.
it was nuts. No, a lot of times it was like,
Several times. Yeah, of course.
yeah.
So what type of stuff for?
Well,
Just being drunk and doing stupid shit type arrests.
bar fights.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes I would I would leave her at the bar to hang with her mom and her friends while I ran up and did my gigs a lot of the time, and in the time I would get back, they'd be like, she's in jail. She got hammered and got in a
Before you fucking even got
in the time
home.
it took me to drive up to Houston, do a spot, and come back, she'd be in jail. And I'd be like, well, damn, that fucking sucks, And
Was she just getting out? Were you having to bail her out constantly? What's that process like?
oh, I didn't have money for bail. I'm trying to save us up enough money to get a place to live. And so no, that was what led. When you're poor and you're in a relationship with somebody that goes to jail all the time, you got to have a conversation about what you're supposed to do when they're
Ahead
in
of time.
jail.
Yeah.
And she was like, "You can fuck whoever you want when I'm in jail." So you know how when you're when you're dating someone, the women just come out of the woodwork.
Yeah, it's
It's
built
just
in.
like it changes you into a way that makes you more attractive to women that aren't
Yeah, and
your
you're-
girlfriend.
Yeah, you're putting out different pheromones.
Yep.
Yeah,
The
That's what it
ooze.
is. Yeah.
When you got the ooze.
Yep.
Yeah. So every time she went
And
to
the
jail, I was just running through all those chicks that were coming up to me off this ooze.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like I was lonely when she was in jail, just heartbroken.
Which
Not
is
lonely, but empty.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I slept
which is
with,
its own pheromone.
I kept a tally book that year because I'm a nut, and I slept with 63 women that year with her in jail, and that was really only in 7 months.
That's a lot. That's a lot of progress.
Yeah, one time I slept with 3 different women in the same day.
Yeah.
Like
Fuck
going,
yeah.
just going. I would go to the bar in the morning, leave with somebody there, go to their place, go to the bar that's nearest to their house, leave with somebody there, and yeah, it was nuts. It wasn't really. It was in the same 24 hours, but it wasn't in the same calendar day. So I don't know if that still counts as a hat trick, but yeah, this is a magical time in my life. But really, it was full of a lot of just misery, missing her, And so you start
A lot of empty,
Overdrink.
meaningless sex that shit wears on you too, man.
yeah, you start over
Chasing
drinking
pussy and
doing
fucking girls that you don't give a shit about. That shit drains.
Especially
you.
when it's on top
so
of actually having somebody you do care
you do
about.
care
and-
about.
yeah.
Yeah,
because
you're like
that's the guilt too.
you're doing this because you miss them and stuff. So I just went ahead and got a side chick or a Sancha as they call them down in Galveston because I was afraid I was gonna take something home. But she was a fucking voodoo woman, and she like put like fucking bad mojo all
Just
over
put a curse
me.
on you.
Well, if I was in some kind of like, if I was living in some kind of perfecting schlag as I felt I was, she put a dark cloud on it, and
Do you think she had a Keith doll she was pinning?
I think she was putting shit in my food
Ooh,
to make me sick.
interesting. Poisoning.
Yeah.
Classic witch move.
It's kind of different from voodoo, but yeah.
Well, I don't know.
She was doing voodoo
She
on
thought
me. She
he was
put
the cauldron.
Drano.
You know what I'm saying? She was fucking mixing up the witches.
I guess
brew.
you're right. That is just poisoning someone. It's not really witchy.
Yeah, it's bitchy for sure. Like, that for. Yeah.
But she knew I didn't love her. She knew that I loved Shannon, and I really was only sleeping with her when Shannon was in jail because I didn't want to just sleep with anybody and end up giving Shannon a disease, which is just fucking. And so I skipped over the miscarriage. Do you guys want to talk about that?
Isn't that kind of what a miscarriage is in and of itself?
We had a name for it and everything.
It's just skipping it.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, a miscarriage
tough one.
is skipping over a whole lot.
Tough crowd. Tough crowd.
You know your audience, Gabe.
Yeah, that probably that happened before. That happened.
Everything changes
before-
after the miscarriage.
It happened before she got strung out. I think that might have
Led to the meth?
led to the meth
Yeah,
a little bit.
like
for
Between that and
1,000%.
she had just lost her kids. Then she gets pregnant and loses the baby.
Oh yeah. That's
So-
a psychological.
Oh, and she was
whirlwind.
raised by that growling woman, and
So you don't.
and she's in abject poverty. She was the first person to teach me that you can wash your clothes in the bathtub. Yeah, I'd never seen that before because I don't know. I come from like the working class where people have washing machines for their home. Yeah, I don't know. She's anyway. If anybody's starting to pull back on their empathy for her because she was banned from Kroger for stealing, you know, and somehow I didn't see that as enough to throw her out of my life. You know, she's funny. No woman has ever made me laugh like she does, and she's tough. Like life has made her acutely aware of her surroundings at all times, and she knows how to navigate this world with the precision of a fucking. What's a precision navigator? Anyway.
A cartographer? How
Yeah,
about that?
Who gives a shit on what I was trying to?
Certainly
what-
not
but
Christopher
she's-
Columbus.
She's has a lot
miss.
special about her, and we're gonna name our daughter Firecracker. Before it passed away.
Before the whole thing kind of blew up in your faces.
Yeah.
Sounds like that baby was a real dud.
Yeah, but like when you're like we were, it's probably a good idea to not have a child when you're actively writing its name as a joke. Like-
yeah, well, yeah.
Like, oh, we're gonna call it Cracker. Go get mom and dad beers from the fridge, Cracker. We were practicing how to be bad parents with it in the belly. Like, oh, Matt, get out there and mow my fucking lawn, Cracker. Like, coming up with how we were gonna talk to our child.
So kids can hear things when they're inside the womb.
And it committed
You think a
suicide.
baby could kill itself? Yeah. It's like, nope, those aren't my parents. Sorry. Mulligan. Mulligan. Put me back in the
Well-
bardo, man. Let me choose a different fuck buddies.
Well, when we found that out, you know, we started fussing and fighting a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we worked it out, and then she was just I was just working really hard to maintain my status as a comedian, and which was not a lot, but I was working and getting booked and saving up for us to get a place to live that's on our own. And she was lonely and trying to get jobs, but they wouldn't hire her because of somebody she beat up 6 months ago for talking shit in the bar. She was one of those people where talk shit, you get hit. She didn't fucking play nonsense. And like people, I like that, you know? I like people who don't take a bunch of fucking
people.
bullshit off assholes. And she's 5'4", 120 pounds, and she'd knock a fucking grown man to the ground. Anyway.
Yeah,
She's a
but-
tough bitch. That shit's hot, dog.
It is.
You know what
It
I mean?
is. It's absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very appealing, but it also is a restrictive thing to try to exist successfully in society.
Yeah, it fucks up your life.
Yeah.
And
And-
you know,
and
as much
also-
as like people like myself who don't behave that way might see some dignity in it, it will always bite you in the ass if you're in a fucking rotating door of a jail
Yeah.
cell all the time.
Yeah, and typically
Being reactive like that.
the unfortunate part is typically people who live in that whirlwind. It's also because that's how society was treating them anyway, and eventually it's like, well, fuck it. I'm just like, if this is all that I get, then I'm just gonna treat it like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tried to pull her out of the fire a lot of times. You know, I always picked her up from jail. You know, and sometimes I'd have to drop her off. You know, I'll tell you, if you think makeup sex is good,
Like you had to drop her
Fucking-
off to jail, like turning herself in. Oh, that sucks.
out on bond, pussy.
Yeah.
Going to jail tomorrow, pussy. That's way better than makeup sex, dog. That's like we gotta get this in because it's gonna be a while. There were a lot of wild times. Picking her up from jail was nuts. One time she got locked up for punching me in the face out in front of the bar because the cops were just sitting at the corner at the stoplight and saw her hit me in the face.
Oh shit! They just watched it.
Yeah, now, so let's tell that story real quick. What happened was, this was in a time in our relationship where I had told her she can't come home if she's using. Which you might as well just tell somebody they can't come home. Because she's gone for like a day and a half. And I went for a ride in my car and saw that her bicycle was out in front of the bar.
You're like, sweet bike.
Yeah. One
Yeah,
of her
I was like,
13 bikes.
there she is. So I go inside the bar, and I had all of her belongings in my trunk because, you know, this is a person who needs her stuff but can't come home if she's on fucking meth.
Yeah.
And she's sitting in the bar with the one person I told her she's not allowed to be hanging out with in the bar because he is a little creep, tweaker that wants to be with her. She's not interested in him like that, but he wants to also get her strung out.
Of course.
Because he's trying to fuck her.
Increases chances. Yep.
And I was like, oh no, bitch, you're getting put the fuck out. You can't come home whether you're sober or not. Fuck you, we're done. And I throw her fucking suitcase on the sidewalk. And she comes out. She's got a beer in her hand like she's going to throw it in my face. And I just tap the bottom of it. And it flies on the ground and spills everywhere. And she just hauls off and decks me in the face. And then, whoop, whoop. The cops come driving around the corner, and I just go back in the bar. Because I'm like, they can't follow me in the bar, can they? Ollie, ollie, oxen free. And they go to the door, and they're like, get out here. What are you doing?
Yeah. That's not how this works.
That's
We're
not
not
how it works.
vampires.
You don't just get to go in the bar and avoid talking to them when they're trying to get your attention.
Oh, you're having a drink? That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry,
Hey,
didn't mean to interrupt.
it was fucking insanity. My logic at the time. Oh, did I mention I'm hammered through this whole story?
It makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Like even
I figured that was kind of just implied.
like
yeah.
I would buy a 6-pack and drink it driving up to do my spot in Houston, and then this is at a time when I was just doing pretty much whatever I wanted as far as drinking goes. Not the best behaved.
You had
boy.
no restrictions on yourself. You were just full bore.
Yeah, and
Flirting with disaster.
I get to the bar. I see her with Squirrel. Pisses me off.
Of course, his name is fucking Squirrel.
Yeah, dude. Fucking-
Every low-life meth head that I've ever fucking known, their nickname was Squirrel.
Yeah.
Every one
Yeah,
of
because
them.
they're all a bunch of squirrely motherfuckers. Yeah.
Yeah, so I throw her shit out. She
Literally
punches
three
me,
different guys.
and the cops are like, "Do you want to press charges?" Because we saw her hit you in the face, and I was like, "No." She weighs fucking 98 pounds at this point. I'm like, it didn't hurt me. I go, "You guys deal with people like me all the time." I go, "I'm a normal person here in Galveston, and I'm in love with somebody who's fucking on meth. And so you know what's going on here." And the cop's like, "Oh, damn. Nobody really ever just tells us."
No, not just comes out and says it like that.
Yeah, and I'm trying to help her. I don't want her to just fall off into this fucking mess and become a fucking tweaker piece of shit. Like we see I'm going off on tweakers, talking about how much I fucking hate tweakers. I always had, really, since I was a kid.
It's easy to do that.
Yeah, they're fucking gator brain little shitheads. But I never saw her as that. I saw her as somebody who was fucking strung out. Because she would steal from the stores. You know, she was like she was a good thief. She'd steal really fancy shampoos and sell those at the bar. And she's the reason why all soap is locked up behind glass down in Galveston. Yeah,
Just her personally.
and good suntan lotion. It's all behind glass. They have to go get the key for you now
God, that's amazing.
because she made thousands of dollars stealing fucking shampoo and conditioner, that high end shit. You know, just what a bad bitch. Fuck CVS. Anyway, the cops are like, "You want to press charges?" And I was like, "No," and they're like, "We don't really need you to press charges. We're going to take her in on domestic battery. We saw her hit you." And I was like, "Don't do that. That's a fucking felony in Texas. I don't want her to go to prison. I don't want her to have to go to court. I'll have to fucking drive her ass to court."
And pick her up from jail.
Yeah.
She can't ride a bike that far.
They're like, "Well, we're taking her to jail for something." And I was like, "Well, I don't know. Check her fucking pockets. She's a junkie. What do you want from me? Like, I'm not going to go. I'm never going to testify that she hit me in the face." And they check her pockets, and she had like a dirty baggie or something in her pocket, so they can
Paraphernalia,
paraphernalia, so they can slap her up in them cuffs and tuck her away. But this is how much they deal with shit like this down in Galveston. The cops let me kiss her goodbye through the bars. They rolled the windows down in the cop car so I could kiss her through the bars before she went off to jail.
So romantic.
Yeah.
In its own
So then I went to
fucked up way.
So I went to my Sancha's house, you know. I put her bicycle in my trunk and dropped it at mom and dad's and went to my Sancha's house for the weekend, and that was fun. Then she got out of jail, and she was sitting on the porch the Monday morning or whatever, walked home from jail. She'd usually walk home from jail when she felt bad about what she went to jail for.
That's when she didn't call you to pick her up.
Yeah.
When she's like, I need to walk this one off. I need to take some time and think about what I've done.
Yeah, if she got picked up for shoplifting, she'd be calling me like, yo, come get my ass. This is some bullshit. I was born to steal, you know. But she'd never steal from a person. You know what I mean? She would never pick someone's pocket or anything like that. Just like stores.
Yeah, corporations. People who deserve to be
Not
stolen
mom and
from.
pop shops either.
Yeah.
Or she wouldn't even steal extra fucking sweet and lows off of a diner, coffee top, or in the diner.
Unless it was
in a
Waffle House.
If it was a chain, she would.
Sure.
But if it's like Dan's Diner, she's not doing
Right,
that.
yeah.
No.
She had principles. And
Was Dan one of her principals?
that's no, it might be grodier, but it's no worse than anything that happens in business.
Yeah.
So that was her business. So she's sitting on the porch that morning after she gets out, and she's like, I'm gonna get straight. And I was like, I believe you. I got your stuff. She come in, and that week was tough. But she didn't use all week because she didn't leave the house for a week. And I was getting pretty close to having enough money to get us our own place. I was only about $100 away from it. And, you know, that's just a couple of shifts when you're waiting tables. And I went to work and she disappeared. And she didn't reappear for 9 days. And I was like, I'm going to L.A. to be a comic. I'm not getting a place with this woman. And she's never recovered. I'm the best version of myself I've ever been, and she's still out there, doesn't know where she's going to sleep. I'm sorry.
Don't be. We love you. It hurts to see somebody you care about and you love
I went out to L.A.,
like that.
talked about this shit on stage, and got moved to development at the Comedy Store. And then the pandemic happened, and, you know, I drank through that. And then I moved to Austin, and everything was really good here in Austin. And she got abducted by a guy who is in prison right now for necrophilia.
Fuck.
He
Jesus
ran a-
Christ.
He ran a necrophilia ring
A ring?
in Galveston, so crack houses and shit down there have people OD in them.
Sure.
And so the gangsters that run them call guys like him to come pick up the bodies, and they pimp the body to sick freaks and then throw it on the side of the road. And this guy got busted doing that, and he abducted her and took her to Abilene. And I didn't have the money to go get her. She escaped. I was living above the Chupacabra working as a busboy down here. And she escaped this dude who I had heard about. I had seen, that's the thing too, was we're fucking soulmates. So anytime I'm on Galveston Island, a fucking love radar beacon goes off in her and she finds me. I've changed cars 4 times and never parked in the same space down there. She knows I'm home whenever I'm there and finds me. And so we see each other. We've always seen each other ever since, anytime I've been down there. So I'd been to this dude's boat trying to rescue her from, you know, because she'll hit me up to just get out of a tough spot. You know, when you've been living that rough for a long time, you get yourself into bad situations.
Often.
And so I've been on I walked onto this dude's boat one time. It was like when they found where they make the drugs in True Detective season 1. It was fucking terrifying. I was like, I might die on this boat finding this bitch. This was some scary shit. And she escaped, and I couldn't afford the gas to go get her. But I knew her dad's phone number, so I gave her dad's phone number. She had forgotten it because of the being frazzled, being taken away to a random part of Texas so far from everything she's familiar with and whatnot. And her dad was able to send her the money for her to get back, or get a bus ticket and get back. Because like I said, she can do for herself, you know, if she can get the money together. And she gets back to Houston, and she gets abducted again. At this point, she's already got missing person posters up, like all the places that do that. You know, it's all over the internet that she's been missing. And nobody hears from her. They got footage of her getting off the bus, and she's gone. And she was going home to Galveston. That was what she said she was doing. And so better part of a year goes by, and my best friend, and I'm drunk this whole time. Now, comedy is going really well for me here in Austin. But, you know, I think this woman who I care very deeply for is dead. And, you know, I have so much guilt about feeling good about my life, you know, and living this dream that I left her to go pursue. And it's been fucking working out at every turn. And, you know, I'm boozing harder and harder. And then my buddy, my best friend dies in a drunk driving accident. And I have to go back to Houston to speak at his, like, friend eulogy thing the comedy community did for him. And like I said, nobody had seen her in 18 months, you know, something like that. And I pull up to the house, she's sitting on the porch. I thought, I saw a fucking ghost. Like, I pull up to my folks' place to get ready for the funeral. I got to go up to the funeral. And she's sitting right there on the porch. And I go, Shannon? And she goes, damn right. I need a hot shower and a hard dick. You got anything to eat? So, you know, grieving makes you horny.
It does.
Yeah,
It definitely
funeral
does.
sex is good sex, man.
Yeah.
Funeral sex, out on bond sex, going to jail tomorrow sex. These are all.
Yeah, death and life go hand in dick and hand. Somewhere. It's there. It's there somewhere.
So she got to Houston and was abducted by this weird, like, culty thing that still was, like, giving her meth.
Yeah.
And, you know, I saw her.
But like Jesus meth. You know what I'm saying? Like the good stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And I saw her last week. She had a couple weeks. Yeah. So that's the end of our story.
A couple weeks
Sober.
sober.
Yeah,
Oh
without-
shit.
Without meth or crack. So that's where she is right now. All these years later, she's still very poor and kind of popping from place to stay. but she's trying again. And she's still great in bed. Can we take a break?
Didn't lose the edge. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do
Yeah.
that.
Smoke a cigarette, reset.
Oh my God, we're back again. No, we're not.
So, long story short, Shannon's a bad bitch with a nice bicycle, and she taught me how to eat pussy. She's really a cool chick, and she's doing good for herself this week anyway.
Nice.
Let's talk about something fun and funny. You know,
Well, it's a good thing she was a bicycle and knew how to eat pussy.
well, you know, I've always wanted to.
Welcome back.
Well, you know, I've always wanted to bring an honest discussion of poverty in real world America to comedy because it's so funny.
It's hysterical.
Well, if you think about it, you know, poor people are just as happy as rich people, and by that I mean fucking miserable. So
But they're easier to make fun of, and that's why we're here today.
they do sillier shit.
They do.
So you guys
Well, they
got
get
some
caught doing sillier shit.
You guys got some stories for me today?
Boy, howdy.
I'll go first. I call first. Do you want to go first? Okay.
Hey, light this thing up
yeah,
like I'm the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland.
Nice.
I want to fall deep into this story like a lucid dream.
Yeah, that caterpillar was definitely smoking opium in that show.
Yeah, he was. 100%.
For sure.
Oh, wait.
Opium tastes really good when you smoke it. It tastes like flowers.
Yes, it's sweet.
Is that on? Do we have the fan on now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, all right. So in 2011, I met this girl named Tabitha who was, she was part of this friend group.
I would prefer her full government name, please,
Yeah.
and social security code.
Yeah, if I'm gonna have to bleep this out, could you please make it worth my time? If Taylor's gonna have to bleep.
I don't want to bleep anything.
Tabitha?
I figured we were doing names, so we're doing names. Fuck it.
You said Tabitha?
Yeah, Tabitha. Also, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only.
A big girl.
No.
That's a rarity.
No. Tabitha had a great body on her. Very nice butt, very nice tits. She was like a gothier, emo-ier, I don't know how to describe her, chick, but definitely the type of girl that I was into. I met her through mutual friends. She hung out at this friend's house where we all kind of hung out, where their mom let us fucking do acid and smoke weed, and that was like the party house. She
Cool
was,
parent house.
She was the fun mom. Yeah. And Tabitha lived in that same neighborhood. And Tabitha and I end up hooking up in like November. And then I started knowing more of her friend group, and I ended up dating one of her friends. Started dating one of her friends like that December. And we dated for 7 years. During this time, though, the girl that I was dating, Tabitha, and the rest of the girls in their friend group, they were real fucking ratchet. They were like trailer trash kind of girls. You know what I mean? It was a whole pack of them, just like white girls that wore Jordans.
Kind of gal you move in on the second date. I get it.
Exactly. So the girl I'm dating, her friend group, Tabitha included, I think I've told this story on the podcast before, but long story short, they jumped this girl, Lindsay. They jumped her at Burger King because Lindsay was cheating on. They jumped Lindsay because Lindsay was cheating on Colin, which was like he lived in the same neighborhood as the girl that I was dating, and like most of the girls in the friend group, right? This fucking neighborhood called Hollybrook, full of like suburban ghetto kids.
You've got to love these women that exist in poor people culture that beat ass on principle, and it's like when you grow up amongst the working poor, like there's always like this loyalty that women have to their male friends, where it's like, I know that you can't beat her up for fucking you over like this, so I'll beat her ass for you.
Yeah, I'll do it for you. Yeah.
And Lindsay was the victim of this situation.
Yep, she cheated on Colin with Timmy, which Timmy was, I've talked about before on the podcast. Timmy was a friend of mine who lived in the neighborhood next to where I grew up, and I was friends with 3 generations of his family. So Timmy was the youngest brother, and then Sean was the one who was like in my grade, and then the oldest brother, Nick, he was the one who like buy us. I mean, Nick bought us cigarettes when I was in 8th grade, when I was still in middle school. Oh yeah. And these were my friends for like a good 10 years probably. So yeah, she fucked Timmy when she was dating Colin. The girls didn't like that. They jumped her at Burger King. We all went to jail for it.
That's where you get your ass beat. Burger King.
Yeah.
You know, catch you out
In the parking lot of Burger King.
Yeah.
After you come out of the drive-thru.
Because McDonald's can afford cameras. You know what I'm saying? So you go Burger King.
They caught her outside.
Yeah.
But anyway, I ended up dating Tabitha's friend for years. Tabitha and my girlfriend, they stopped being friends kind of after this whole, like, this jail thing kind of put a rift in the girls' friend group.
Yeah. Because once you're in jail, you got to establish a pecking order, and you know what I'm saying? Whoever pulls the short straw, it's going to be awkward for them.
Yeah, the short tampon.
Damn it. That was better. I should have done that instead.
All right. So,
Did you just guilt yourself in real time?
Yeah.
Not coming up with the same joke.
Correct. Yep.
but the whole time I'm like, I don't want to.
Coughs are like yawning on this podcast. When one person starts, it's like,
Yeah, it's contagious. Yeah, well, because we've all been holding it in, and once one person gets it out, it's like, all right, let's all get it out now.
do it. Yeah.
Let's just take this time, take a couple seconds.
yeah.
Okay.
Do one of those. Yep.
Finally. Jesus. Hey, I needed to breathe.
Well, now I want to hit the fucking student glass again. So I thought, whole time though that I'm dating this girl, I want to be fucking Tabitha. I had a lot of fun with Tabitha, and she was more of a free spirit. You know what I mean? Like, she was a wild child. The girl I was dating was more like, you know, you shouldn't do LSD, right? You know, you don't want to date that girl when you want to do LSD. So, anyway, so the girl that I'm with, we ended up breaking up, and I start doing comedy, and I get back in touch with Tabitha. We start hanging out more, just being friends, being around each other. She was dating a girl at the time, and they were in a fucking toxic ass relationship, like domestic disturbance. Her girlfriend was going to jail type relationship. Fucking wild. And, you know, I would see her every once in a while. And then one night she saw me at a comedy show, and I did pretty well for the point of my career that I was in. And you know how that is sometimes. Doing well on a comedy show, kind of, you know, there can be incentives with that. And that ended up being an incentive. Tabitha fucking ended up texting me, you know, wanting to kind of rekindle whatever it was we had before, and being very aggressive about it. Like, I get what I want. I want you, and I get the things that I want type attitude. Like, literally said that to me, and that was her attitude about everything. And that's why I wanted to fucking be with her. She was fun. She was go out there and take life by the balls girl. So her and I start fucking, and it's a goddamn good time. I mean, the first girl I was with, you know, she unlocked some of the like kinkier stuff that I'm into, but Tabitha was more like, it was more freeing when we had sex, you know what I mean? It was just like two wild animals, you know what I mean? We were very compatible, like you were with Shannon. It was primal. It was fun. It was I unlocked something that I hadn't before, and
one of those things where it immediately feels natural.
And
Like,
and you realize immediately that you'll put up with a lot of bullshit
for what that connection brings you.
This is good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So what I didn't mention, which I'm sure was implied, is that during this entire time, I'm doing drugs off and on.
Yeah.
You know, the girl that I was dating, I was fucking smoking crack behind her back. I had to go to the hospital for that. We talked about that. My fucking throat was closing up and shit. So, yeah, I was, still living that lifestyle, right? I had just started doing comedy, but I wasn't fully sober yet. So I was still abusing drugs, still drinking heavily, still doing coke, and still smoking crack. So,
So you're the Shannon in this relationship.
a little bit, because Tabitha's a wild card. She's not like a full-blown, has a drug of choice, but she'll do drugs if you put them in front of her face. And she definitely liked to do coke, and she was drinking heavily. I'm not a drinker. Even when I'm doing coke and I'm smoking crack, I'm not really a drinker. I'm smoking crack. But she was drinking heavily every night and showing me. She was the one who put me on the Grateful Dead live performances. That's all she wanted to fucking do. Is when we would hang out and get fucked up, I would smoke crack and she would drink, and then she would just be on my laptop and just queuing up Grateful Dead live performances for 4 hours. While we're just.
And that's just one song.
Yeah, that's just the one song.
One song that never fucking ends and isn't all that good to begin with. Anyway, sorry. I know you like the Dead. It's okay.
You like the blues. You like the Dead. Shut
He's
up.
glad they're dead.
I'm fine with the Dead. That's the way I'd put it.
I think you'd like the Dead more than you give credit for. I was like that too until I got exposed to them more. I didn't appreciate it then when she
They
was putting me
exposed
on
themselves to you?
Yeah, they exposed themselves. John
And that's when
Mayer
you were like,
exposed
"Alright,
himself to me.
I'm in.
I wasn't into it then either because it was being force fed to me. But as I got into it on my own terms, a couple years, actually in the more recent years,
I'm more of a Parliament Funkadelic guy.
that's good shit too. Yeah.
Not that you have to be an either or. Life's a buffet of apparently
Yeah, I did.
crack and bad jam band songs,
Correct.
but
Yes.
still a buffet nonetheless.
And it was one that I
Hey,
was eating
by the
at
way,
a lot.
I said I'd be funnier the second half. That comes with a fat dose of mean. I don't know why. I don't know why it's funnier to be a little bit mean, but we love each other enough that we'll
we
put
know
up
why.
with that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Fuck you, Scott. No, go ahead.
but
also fuck you.
the funnest part of this story with Tabitha and I was Tabitha was a dumpster diver.
Okay.
And I had never been
shit.
dumpster diving before. And this was her thing.
There's good shit in there, by the way. I don't know if you know.
You
this.
just gotta know the right
Really good
dumpsters.
You got to know
Yeah.
the right dumpsters. And guess what? Tabitha knew the right
Knew all of them?
dumpsters.
Okay.
Instead of bicycles, we would go dumpster diving at Ulta and different beauty supply stores like that. And we would go get all the old testers and samples that the store threw out, and we would go back to Tabitha's house, clean them up with fucking rubbing alcohol, make them look all clean and pretty and nice, and then we would package them and mail them to people that Tabitha was selling makeup to on some Facebook group. So we had this fucking hustle.
She was just a little bit more legal version of Shannon's hustle with the beauty products and the shampoos and shit. She's stealing it out of the dumpster, which is technically public. Were these locked dumpsters? Or
No, we
these
could
were
get
just
into
you could
them.
just open them right up. See, in my hometown, because the people are so poor, they actually lock up all of the dumpsters behind the grocery store so people can't break into them and get the still good enough to eat food out of them. Because the Chrysler Corporation left and decimated our economy. But anyway, it's nice that you could just get right into these dumpsters. You didn't have to break into them like poor
Right.
people in my hometown that are hungry.
Right. So we always
Because again, we're trying to bring poverty back to comedy.
That's
what this episode is about.
we were stealing
saying
food
it
and
so
shit
blatant.
though, too.
Nobody else is saying that. Hot take. Hot take.
Yeah.
We weren't just stealing makeup to sell to, buy crack and alcohol with and support gas to get back and forth from other makeup places. We stole food.
You were a couple of modern day Robin Hoods. That's what it's all about. Okay, Bonnie and Clyde, whatever you want to go. And
It was fun, man. It was so much fun. It was literally a fucking dirty, treacherous, gross time of my life that I would never go back and live like. Not saying I'm above dumpster diving and smoking crack, but I am. So
But I'm really trying to be.
I'm really working on it. I'm working hard doing the, doing the inner fucking.
Clyde Barrow was shot over 100 times. If you don't think a spinner thief will ruin your life,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so you guys are having fun. What was her drink of choice? Do you mind me asking?
She drank like twisted teas and
no.
shit like that.
I dated
she
this
liked
girl.
shit like that.
Hell yeah.
Heavily in the big big
Mike's
ones.
Hard Lemonade.
You know what I
fucking-
mean? It was
yeah.
going to 7-Eleven and buying a couple of the fucking Big Daddy ones that like the 22 ounce.
During the pandemic, I dated this girl with no fronts. Her last boyfriend had pistol whipped him out of her mouth, and I was like, oh man.
So she'd already been trained.
She'll put
You know
up
what I'm
with
saying?
she'll
Like,
put up
she'd
with
already-
anything. She dumped me after a month or whatever. Anyway, I was like, damn. It was anyway. She was with that guy for like 4 years.
Yeah, you should have knocked some teeth out.
Anyway,
Lesson learned, Keith.
she drank twisted tea and Southern Comfort. Yeah, that's a
Southern Comfort. That's another.
take a big
man.
swig of SoCo, big gulp of
One of our friends' mom was a big Southern
Twisted
Comfort
tea.
drinker, and that was the friend's mom that everybody.
I remember the haircut that the girl at the party who was drinking Southern Comfort would always have. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how specific that girl was.
But that
She had the same haircut. She had the same jean skirt. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember her. Her name was often Tanya. You know what I'm saying?
Tanya.
Or some version of that. Yeah. Taryn.
Some tea name.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You,
Tina.
Tina.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, you know what Southern Comfort does to people, but like when you combine it with that malt liquor, you're like, people that drink twisted tea as their drink, that's a wily buzz.
Yeah.
That's a very tequila-esque
Yeah.
kind of sipper. You know?
It's wild.
Okay. So you guys, so you're selling makeup on Facebook?
Yeah, we're living in
Marketplace?
this blur. I'm smoking rocks. She's drinking. We're doing coke together. So she's not. I'm smoking it. She's snorting it, and we're just partying, living in this fucking blur. And
Where are you actually living in? Are you living in a trailer or living in like a house?
I'm living in like an attic almost. It was this yeah, dude. It was basically an
sounds right.
attic. It
Well, I'll
was where
tell
I
you,
lived after
Attics
the
and
motel.
basements.
I'll tell you,
That's where you find.
it's your parents' guest room.
Don't get all high and mighty on me. I'm the one in the attic. I can get high and mighty because.
There you go.
Was your mom changing your sheets for you at the time?
Are you gonna quit now?
I already did.
But
Alden turns the camera off as soon as you say something like that.
we always joked about it and talked about it. But everywhere that we dumpster dived was either like behind Aldi or behind Alta. So it was either broken glass or like half rotten produce in the dumpster. But one night we went to there was a Baskin Robbins and Dunkin' Donuts. You know how they like put two businesses together?
Yeah.
We went to their dumpster, and it was the best smelling dumpster dive that I've ever been to.
Yeah, that's a good combo.
And since there wasn't broken glass and rotten produce, it's a good dumpster to fucking.
Nice. Dumpster fucking.
Dumpster fucking. And like, like, fucking in the Baskin Robbins Dunkin' Donuts dumpster is actually pretty aromatically nice. It's pretty good smell. It's really good smell, honestly.
Yeah.
It was a fresh dumpster.
Yeah.
It was fucking fantastic, man. It was a good time. And
I like how hard
this is
you're
a standing
trying to.
fuck.
I like how hard you're trying to sell dumpster fucking.
This
I'm
is
trying to sell dumpster fucking.
No, you guys don't understand. Sometimes it can be really nice.
So you guys hopped
Fucking-
into the
To
dumpster.
fuck a-
behind
to
the
fuck a
dumpster.
nice girl in a dumpster.
Well, but let's slow this down. Let's slow
before
this down.
you get your crack.
Yeah.
So you hop into the dumpster together, and then you look at each other, and there's just that like, it doesn't smell that bad here. Let's kiss, And then
I definitely
from there,
initiated it because it was like you're also
all whacked out on crack and horny.
Yeah,
so you're like, okay, nobody can see us, and it moved. So like, I'm just gonna put it in you.
But
if that's
also
okay.
like it's the big.
And a gal
also,
like this, a
if
ride or
it's not
die like
okay,
this,
yeah.
is always down to fuck. That's
She was
another
ride or
thing.
die as shit, dude. I didn't have wheels, so she was driving us around. She was driving me around to sell weed and for us to go to the UPS store and us to go dumpster diving. So like, she was down as fuck. And yeah, we'd always joked about it, like, haha, what if we fucked in a dumpster? But this was a dumpster full of the giant plastic bags full of donuts. Like the dumpster was a cushion. It was a cushioned fuck dumpster.
Oh, it was just like bean bags in there.
Yeah,
full
exactly. Full of fucking donuts.
Interesting.
It was perfect. It was the perfect
And-
dumpster to fuck in.
So you laid her
Anyway.
down on
I'm not
this?
trying to sell you guys on dumpster fucking. I'm going to say if you're going to fuck in a dumpster, make it the one behind the fucking Dunkin' Donuts.
Okay. Do you want to shout out the specific Dunkin' Donuts so that everybody knows for future reference?
Yes.
Which dumpster is the cum dumpster?
Yes, so it's the one on Plank Road. It's going to be across the street from like the Wawa and what used to be Carlos O'Kelly's. So
Nice.
that's going to be the Baskin
In-
Robbins
That's
What
the one. Do
city?
you guys want a
in Fredericksburg, Virginia,
little piece of
right off
Stoney
Plank
Baloney
Road,
history?
Route 3, right behind. That's the dumpster.
So
They're gonna have to shut that place down because all 14 of our followers are gonna start fucking in that dumpster. It'll be a pilgrimage.
The
It'll
fuck
be a-
dumpster.
So
on
you're
Route
saying
3.
you laid her
It'll be a
down on
Stoney
these
Baloney
donuts
pilgrimage.
and fucked her?
I mean, I bent her over around the donuts.
Okay, or you
weren't, like,
you were just standing in the garbage, stand up fucking her from the back, right?
Yeah, but she could get
Okay.
like a knee down. You know what I mean? Like we could position
That
a
was
little
another
bit.
thing.
Not gonna fully lay down and get that comfortable in the dumpster. It's like you're not gonna lay your ass in the pine needles. You're gonna have a little bit of, you know what I mean? You're not putting your full body weight on certain things when you fuck in certain places.
Yeah.
Unless you're on a mattress or like a couch or something like that or a floor. You're not putting your full body weight.
When you get really good with somebody and at fucking and you just have that connection and stuff, it's wild how you can just get one in like 2 minutes.
Anywhere, anytime.
Anytime. It's like we never fucked in a dumpster, but like behind buildings. One time on those, those crates that 2-liter bottles come in, they stack them up real big for the distributor to pick up out
Yeah.
behind gas stations. We fucked on top of a bunch
Right,
of
yeah.
stacks of those. The bar of every bathroom we frequented. There's a women's room down in Galveston that has a big one of those high heel shoe chairs. Have you ever seen one of these? They're a great fuck bench. And
I've never fucked in one, but it is pretty fuck bench shaped already.
yeah, it's kind of just like kneel on this and get to work, you know.
I fucked on the trail in the woods surrounding a Confederate cemetery in my hometown. Which, but also great place to fuck.
Is
if
this
you're in
also
Fredericksburg,
with Tabitha?
Pennsylvania.
Was this also with Tabitha?
No, that was Tabitha's friend who I was dating.
Okay.
When
So do you ever end up with Tabitha in this story?
I mean, we had a couple months there where we were living in a blur and dumpster diving and abusing
So
drugs
that's
and
who-
drinking, and then we got our pandemic relief fund, and she fucking moved to the West Coast. She ended up going to San Francisco.
So did
and
you
then
feel like-
she's anytime I
so-
see her on social media, she's at some random dead show in either goddamn, whether it be Vegas or Dallas or whatever goddamn part of the country they're in.
Why did you guys? So you guys got
She
some
back-
money and
she
bounced?
She got back together with her abusive ex-girlfriend.
Or ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, she was dating a chick when her and I rekindled. When she came to see me at the comedy show.
Right on. Okay. So far I'm thinking this is the real story, but let's.
I do seem like I would turn a woman back to her abusive.
Yeah.
I put off those vibes.
Yeah.
Which is probably why I don't get a lot of dates.
Also, I'm just glad that we finally talked about how gay people can be abusive too. You know, they don't get enough lip service for the abusers that they are,
exactly.
and I'm glad to do any podcast.
Well, I think
that-
lesbians get a lot of lip service.
Well, it's just about time somebody took them to task. You know, gay people can be bad people too, because they're people.
gay people can be
Exactly.
bad people too because they're
because
people.
it's 2024 and they're
Yeah.
allowed.
Equal.
It's about time we recognize all groups of people for the pieces of shit that they produce.
That they can be capable of being.
That's right.
An equity of hate.
That's right. Or no, I would say an equity of shittiness. I don't promote hate. I'm
We all meet in
about
the middle,
love.
and that's where we should.
I'm all about love these days, dude. I even love people that are total pieces of shit.
That's why you're on this podcast.
Yeah.
But Tabitha left me. She just kind of
She
woke
just
up one
kind of
morning
got
and
some
she
money
wasn't
and was
there.
gone.
She was one of those. I've
Boy.
dated a couple of those who were just like they just kind of disappear. But some of those are the most fun ones. Like there's a couple of those that I would let back in my life because at first it sucks, but then you just get to a point where you're like, oh, some people are going to leave my life. I've only been abandoned by my entire fucking family, my entire existence. So you just get comfortable with the fact that like most people aren't going to be in your life forever. So appreciate the time you have with them. And when they go, and keep it fucking pushing.
Yeah, sooner or later.
But
they're
I think that I could let a couple of those people, and I have, back into my life because it's just like
this has been a very healthy way for you to approach life and relationships.
Yeah. Hey, it's gonna end sooner or later, so fuck it. You heard it here first, folks. Yeah. Sometimes that
I feel like that was a good sentiment. Some people aren't going to be in your life forever. Enjoy the moments you have with them now because it might not be there tomorrow. Whether they fucking kill themselves or fucking get in a drunk driving accident or
Tabitha did the exact same thing as me. She took the money and went to California.
exactly.
That's how my story ended. So it was just kind of a little bit reversed there. But you didn't wind up.
You didn't hook up with Tabitha at any point, did you?
No,
That'd be cool.
I've never met a thin Tabitha, so can't have been me.
Tabitha
I
was
wonder
fun.
if
Nice lady.
if parents when
Hope
they
you're
name
doing
their
well.
daughter Tabitha, they know that she's going to be fat.
You think it's intentional?
It's like a chicken or the egg kind of situation with that.
It is
Bertha,
funny because
Helga.
that Tabitha that you've brought up, I only personally know one Tabitha, and that's my sister, and she's also thin. So I don't
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
this theory is not working.
You guys
out,
have two unicorn Tabithas.
apparently.
Anyway, hey, this is just I'm not a statistician, you know. This is just observational evidence I've gone by in this. Anyway, tends to be a big girl name. A lot of big girls. Tabitha, Beth. That's a big girl name.
Okay.
Beth.
Listen, I'll give you that. Beth is a big girl name.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on.
There was a girl I went to high school with. She was the hottest girl in the school, Bethany. Now she's a Beth. She's a Beth.
Yeah, she went full Beth. She went full Beth.
She started a Bethany.
Now
She
she's a real
evolved like a
Beth.
Pokemon.
Because that's fair. A Bethany. That's
Bethany
she
can be hot?
Yeah, she could be cute.
Yeah, cute.
But
Bangs. Redhead,
Right?
probably.
Yeah, wears sundresses a lot. Yep. Yeah. Beth though.
the name just
Blue
sounds
hair,
round.
obviously. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
Beth.
name sounds.
Beth sounds like a gal. That,
It like Beth. It like comes back around.
sounds like a gal that smokes cigars. You know.
Yeah. But like your cigars.
But yeah, I haven't seen Tabitha in years.
Well,
Last time I saw her, it was like one of the times that I visited home from here, and I just saw her at the 7-Eleven, and I was like, "Hey," and she was like, I'm supposed to be a ghost instead of your situation. Where I'm like, "Did I see a ghost?" And instead she was
she's
like,
like,
"Yes, you did see a ghost."
Like the scene in Grandma's Boy where he's like, "How can they see me?" She's up against the wall.
Yeah, she nice lady. I don't need to talk more about her.
So the
well,
chick,
they got plenty
the
of
chick-
twisted
yeah,
tea in
the-
California. So.
The chick that she'll
be fine.
Drink it all up. There's a drought, which I think is connected to all the twisted tea.
It makes sense.
So my drug addiction actually ended right before this chick that I'm going to talk about. And I guess she was kind of my replacement for that at first.
You want to give her a name or
No.
you can't even
I'm
just give
We'll
her
just
a
call
fake
her
one?
Tina.
Nope.
Yeah, why don't we call her Tina? Like
Oh,
man.
all right. She's Tina. Okay, so So Tina and I met like not long after my mom had died, and I had kind of like a reverse story to what people typically do with drug addiction. My heavy drug addiction stopped when my mom died, and it was a conscious decision. I remember at that time, like literally the night after she had died, my buddy that I always smoked meth with showed up with, with some meth to
With a
smoke.
puddle and a light bulb.
Yep,
and
ready
it's
to
time
go.
To get to work.
Yeah. And I remember
Taking
that was
apart television sets.
that was my Nokia phones at the time. I took apart so many fucking Nokia phones, so many. Not a one of them went back together. Right?
Damn.
They all went back together. None of them.
Ever worked again?
No, of course not.
Who was in there? Why were you?
I reverse engineered them, you could say.
Yeah, they were engineered to work. You
Yeah, and I
reversed
fixed that. Exactly. Yes. Yeah. They were engineered by engineers, and then I took them apart. So
A meth engineer.
he showed up, and that was the first time I'd ever turned down meth since I had started.
Since you
doing
started.
which was, I don't know, 2-3 years, somewhere in that range.
That shit makes you feel real sparkly.
It does. It's fucking
Until
well.
it
Here's the
fucking
thing.
doesn't.
Yeah, it does. That doesn't last very long. When you become addicted to that,
It just makes you feel okay.
I had
again, like a
sh-
cigarette.
Well, it just makes you not need to do it for a little while.
Yeah, that's right.
That's really all it does.
It gives you some respite from when you need to do it again.
That's it. Exactly. That's all it's doing. Once you're really more than a couple
But like
months in, especially the amount that I was
The first
doing.
couple tokes off that light bulb, you're like, I've never been so
Oh,
alive.
Superman! It's
you
all
are Superman
100%.
immediately.
Every inch of you is the best thing that's ever
Shout
been. It's
out
fucking crazy.
to Hitler.
Right?
You know.
Thanks, Nazis. So I remember that night having the clear, conscious thought: if I smoke meth about this, I will never come back. I recognized how poignant that moment was, and I was like, if I try to fix this with this, I will never detach the two, and I will never come back. And it was a very difficult decision to make, but it was a conscious one, and I knew at that moment. I was like, this is the moment.
This is defining moment.
This is the moment that people look back and either go, that was when it all went downhill forever, or when I separated. And I knew that. I felt it. So I turned it down, and it wasn't an immediate, like, that wasn't the last time. I did meth a few more times after that. It took me, I don't know, probably 3-6 months after that to like fully never do it again. But that night, that purposeful moment was what set in motion the fact that I was going to get away with it, or away from it. Get away with it. I did get away with it for a long time, but
Freudian slip.
ooh,
A little bit.
slipped it in. So I met this girl like a year after my mom died,
Okay.
and she was a hairdresser, and fucking, I don't know. There's something built into that industry where those girls are fucking nuts, or maybe just me. Maybe it's just the ones of them I attracted. But I dated several hairdressers, and all of them were fucking crazy. Like amazing in bed, absolutely nuts.
Yeah,
every single one.
These are female hairdressers.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I figured out your fucking situation there. You know what I mean?
that I'm not gay.
Women are crazy.
We've known each other for years. He just figured out. So
I can see why it took him so long.
I get it.
Hey, hot take. Women be crazy.
Everybody be crazy.
Oh, shit. All right. So we met literally at she worked for a girl who was a good friend of mine for a long time. We met when we were young. She owned the salon that this other chick worked at, Tina. So Tina and I met. I just went there to see my friend and get my hair cut. It was after I'd lived here. I'd been here for like a year.
And this is not a
moved
hairdresser
back to
you were
Atlanta.
fucking. This is just a hairdresser friend of yours.
Correct. Yeah, we just never really had any kind of like.
You meet somebody out and about in life, and they end up being your.
Yeah, she's a lesbian now. And at the time was like kind of doing it, but like trying to come in the church world, especially at that time, early 2000s. That was not
Super
that was
big
not-
no-no.
Yeah, that was not kosher. So yeah, she was kind of trying to hide it still at that point. But but again, I just went to see her, ended up meeting this other girl, and ended up going out with our group of friends that night, and we just ended up naturally just kind of partnering off, and throughout the night having some drinks together and talking and shit. And then I went to like see her out when she left, and she told me later that she, like, my friend that I went to see, the owner of the salon, had warned her, like, don't. Like you guys are, like, I know you guys are gonna have, like, zero in on each other, and don't, just stay away from it. It's a bad idea. Like, you guys are gonna be toxic together. She warned her straight up before we'd even met. She was like, just don't. And sure enough, first night we met, we ended up out in her car together making out, and then she left, and then she told me later that whole story that that she'd been warned, and she's like, that's the only reason I didn't just fuck you in my car that night, because I
got to pump the brakes a little bit.
I was trying a little bit at least to listen to her advice, right? So and throughout,
yeah, that's another thing. Oh, women don't listen to each other. Are you kidding me?
No,
that's
not at all.
So bonkers. Her good friend was like, "Hey, this is about to be a nightmare in your life
for the next 3 years.
Don't do this." And she was like, "So I'll wait to fuck him tomorrow."
Yeah, we'll do it later.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll take it slow.
They have terrible brains. Let's go on. Loves people, hates women. I don't know what that is.
Very quickly, it progressed into a crazy relationship, and like we would be together and just like crazy for each other. You know what I'm saying? That type of volatile where like when you're together and when everything's working, it's just like you're annoying because you love each other so much. You know what I mean? You're together all the time. You're fucking everywhere you can, every chance you get. That's the girl
piss
that
everybody
I fucked.
off.
Yeah,
everybody else. When you're in like that real deep connected fucking love and lust all publicly, it pisses people off because they're fucking alone and they'll never be as happy,
or they're
as
with
you
somebody
are,
and they're like,
not.
what? That's not happening. We don't do any of that shit.
It's just people. The lonely despise you when you're having that kind of joy in your life, and
but
it
also
is because people are shitty and they can't be happy for one another. And
but it's also because they don't recognize the other side of that, and a relationship that has that heavy of a swing in that direction also has the opposite swings. We would break up and fight aggressively in front of those same people. You know what I'm saying? So they would get to
passion.
Yeah, no, I know it is. It's intense passion, but it's also
people don't understand romance anymore.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, you guys are bad for each other. And it's like, well, at least I give a shit about her. You know what I mean?
But we were. I mean, we would get kicked out of bars and shit, and like for stupid shit, like we would be making out at, like as the bar was closing, we'd be sitting on the outside part and we'd be making out and she'd just pull her tits out and you know what I'm saying? Just like crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we would always get into situations like that where we would get in trouble publicly, and our friend group was always like, Jesus fucking Christ, you guys, like, we would always find a new way to create some kind of trouble, right? And then we were always breaking up for periods of time, and then we'd get back together, and you know, you would fuck at first pissed off because you're like, I know you fucked somebody else while you were gone, because I did. So I know you fucking whore. And so then you'd angry fuck for the first couple weeks that you got back together, and then you'd be like, oh no, I desperately love you. You're my everything. And then you'd go into that mode. But also, like, you would break up over the craziest fucking things. Like, I remember one time I had like we were sitting in a park, and also like publicly, like it was weird the amount of behavior that I would exhibit with her in public. But like I had just like a bottle of water that was mostly empty, and the cap just wasn't tightened on it all the way. And I said something to her, and she just like kind of playfully threw it at me. But the cap came off, and it just like drenched me. And I was pissed off, and it just like annoyed me that she would disrespect me like that in front of people. You know what I'm saying? Just something crazy like that.
Right.
And so I was like, fuck you, you stupid. And I went off on her. Everybody's like, what the And then she just responds because that's just the way that it was. This is just the way.
It's just the way you talk to each other.
Yeah,
at this
exactly,
point. Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, and then she was just like, "Well, fuck you too, you piece of shit." And so we just broke up in the middle of like a group hangout together. We were like, "Fuck you," and left. We came together, left separately. She called her mom to pick her up. I drove away. Like shit like that happened constantly.
Yeah. No, it's you get so comfortable with fighting because you know that the relationship will survive the fight.
Yeah.
You're like, you go. Look,
You know you still got each other.
You got the you got the routine of just getting it out when you get pissed at each other. Like we never called each other these things when we were mad at each other, but our pet names were fat asshole and stupid bitch. Like she called me fat, but she would never call me a fat asshole when we were fighting.
That's how you knew she was upset. Because she wouldn't call you a fat asshole.
Yeah, because like
oh shit, she means it.
And like, but those were like our pet names, like oh stupid bitch, you know, like that's just which now you think back and you're like, oh that's not the nicest thing to, but that's our sense of humor.
Yes,
that was our sense of humor was abuse. So. I totally get this, and public breaking up.
But it's also because
making the world about your relationship.
Oh my God, it's the best feeling, up or down.
Like the theater, having your relationship be a real focal point of whatever world's theater you're performing in at that time is an intoxicating feeling.
It is. But also, so is everything about that relationship. She liked to. I mean, we both did.
What? Hey,
she liked to fuck
you two
publicly.
lonely people over there. Why don't you watch me and her break up and then get back together?
And then we'll be back
again.
together. And you guys know we will.
Yeah.
As we're breaking up, you're
enjoy
like,
the show, assholes.
In a week, you guys are going to be like, we've never loved each other more. Absolutely. Yeah, because we're fucking insane.
Yeah.
But also, we fucked one time in a park. In the middle of the day, we put a blanket down and put a blanket over top of us, and we just fucked in the middle of the park. And it was like during the day when kids would be in school, so it was just adults walking around. But like there were people just fucking. It's a park. It's a public park, and we just we did shit like that constantly. It was like that was our favorite thing to do.
You guys are both selling these stories pretty well.
We fucked driving one time. That was spectacular in a little Honda Civic.
That seems like something. It's like I'm starting to think.
I fucked the girl, Tabitha's friend that I dated for like 7 years. We had sex in a church parking lot one time, and that's the same girl that I had sex with at the Confederate cemetery.
Oh shit!
In fucking Battlefield. Yeah,
that's fun.
Those are fun places.
So when it started to get really volatile was when I was living. I was always poor growing up, but I got like super. This was around like 2000, like the 2008 crisis.
Okay.
And nobody could get a fucking job, and so like I was properly broke. I was doing like shitty temp agency work to find literally anything to pay the bills, and so we just started stealing shit. And she was not poor. She came from a family with money, but she just was living with me, and that was our life. So
that's what y'all were doing. Yeah.
And she got off on it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was the first time she was able to just like really separate from her family life and be like, I'm a gangster now,
yeah,
right?
I'm a bad
Those are
girl.
the people who become kleptos. It's the people that don't need to steal. They're the one who get the sickness.
Because if you need to steal, it's not to say that there isn't also a little bit of a fucking,
I got away with it.
I got it, yeah. But now I get to eat is the end of it. Not like,
I have
like
a jacket.
I got away with it. Let's do it again, right? Yeah.
Or in my
Because we were
my girl's
shoplifting
case,
clothes.
she's like, "Oh, I have cigarettes for tomorrow, and I'm gonna gamble this and turn it into more. I've been hawking this slot machine for 2 weeks, watching people lose." Yeah, she was nuts about the. Like turning booty into more booty is what she used to call them. Double booty.
double that booty. So she ended up getting busted. Her parents were big fans of us being together in the beginning, but obviously when shit went sour and got toxic and obviously they would hear about all the fights and shit like that because it was all happening publicly. So they started to sour on the relationship, but when she got arrested one time stealing by herself, it was one of the only. Well,
was she stealing anything that you guys needed, or was it?
No,
like
she was just stealing clothes. I thought at the time we only ever stole together, but she had been just like
Oh, she was going rogue.
She had just been feeling the rush on her own, and she got busted one time. And I had a very strict system. You did things a certain way. You knew what the risks were, and you mitigated them as well. But she was just, again, doing it for the rush. So she just grabbed a wad full of stuff and threw it in her purse and tried to walk out of Belk, right? So she got arrested.
They
she
probably
went to
watch
jail.
women harder for shoplifting too because they're walking around with purses all the time.
Because it's a but also I think she wasn't careful at all. So when that happened, she got arrested. Her parents
And this
bailed
is
her
all
out.
you post math?
This is when I'm high on fucking sobriety and the death of my mother. So so
This is just what I'm doing to not smoke meth.
exactly. Yeah, no, absolutely. That's all this was. The
I
whole
need a
relationship
rush.
and everything we were doing,
And
that's what it was.
If you think about it, turning to stealing as opposed to gambling makes you nothing but a winner.
Exactly.
If you're needing a rush because you're fighting the urge to get stimulated with a chemical,
so
there's one where you're pretty likely to lose, and there's one where you're guaranteed to win.
but also your brain makes some pretty addictive chemicals on its own. You can just fucking fire those bitches up anytime you want. So she gets busted, her parents bail her out, and then she went back to stay with her parents. And that was the kind of the beginning of the end when she went back to stay with her parents, because then they were like, you don't need to be with him, he's bad influence. And then I ended up getting busted maybe a couple months later for weed. And like no weed. I literally had a bowl, and we had smoked the only bowl of weed we had, and got just like there was a camera in the parking garage we were in that saw us, and somebody called the police, and fucking police showed up.
This in Georgia?
Some fucking snitch.
On fucking Christmas Day.
You got nothing better to do
Yeah,
than
it was
call the
brutal.
cops on
Fucking
somebody
goddamn-
smoking a bowl on Christmas.
And just go. We were literally going to smoke weed and go
Do-gooders.
in to see a movie, and So then I go to jail,
White people.
and I call her from jail, and she goes, "I can't deal with this anymore. We're done," and breaks up with me over the phone while I'm in jail instead of coming to bail me out.
Ugh. Yeah. See, that ain't no soulmate right there. That's a ruthless incubi.
And then I saw her a couple of times after that. We fucked a couple times when we ran into each other after that. And then I didn't see her again. I haven't seen her again since. But the last time I was in Atlanta, I just like put out in my story, I was like, yo, I need some weed. Does anybody in town know where to get some? And she literally hit me up and was like, yo, if you need weed next time you're in town, I've got it. I was like, you fucking bitch.
Yeah.
You've got the weed now? Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, I'm the plug.
Oh, wow. Full circle.
From look at what you've become to look at me now. What the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
Oh.
Fucking brutal.
Full
So,
circle.
Well, yeah.
That's a good story.
You know, sometimes this is and the thing is, like, if I'd have had the money, I'd have been bailing her out. Your chick could have just bailed you. That bail was nothing. Fucking
$90. I remember to this day how much it was.
Jesus Christ, that is fucking god awful. What a shit person. You know, break up with you and bail you out.
Yeah, bail me out and break up with me in person outside of the jail.
And then I'll give you the fucking $90
that was the
back,
other thing.
right?
I had the money.
Yeah, can you still be a human for like 5 minutes?
Yeah,
That's
like-
all I need is just some humanity.
Yeah, if you, hey, I know we're not gonna date anymore, but
Yeah.
do me a
Or be
solid
best
and
friends.
bring $90.
Remember how you
down here
loved
so I
me
can-
for 3 years?
Yeah,
Fucking, can you mind
Jesus.
just for like a minute you pretend like you just give a little bit of a shit about me? Yeah.
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 Oh, and people go around drinking. Well, fucking brutal. There are the indicators. As a trained detective, 10th grade level scientist, the indicators that I want to think that you not wanting to use the person's name at all is a good indicator that it is a true story. Because, like, people don't want their business out there. And, Fredericksburg isn't a small town. Also, thin Tabithas don't exist. That's another reason why I think that Scott's full of shit.
He's like, I can't believe it. As soon as you said
Thin
Tabitha, I was out.
I was
this
like,
motherfucker's lying.
Baloney.
Now, here's the thing: is I do think you're the kind of person who would have sex in a dumpster.
I fucking am.
That's an indicator that the story is.
I would still have sex in that dumpster.
And I also get like the detail that the dumpster was.
Wait
like,
a minute. Is that why you were rock hard that whole episode after Warren brought in the donuts? Because you just can't.
That's why.
disassociate.
And that's why I was feeding them to you guys.
But also, you guys make it
I
really
feel
hard
so
because
dirty now. I
you
feel
guys make
so
it harder
dirty.
to tell.
It feels so dirty.
And I knew that I was going to tell this story soon. That's why I fed you the donuts.
You
It's
guys-
predictive programming.
You guys make it hard. Can they both be true, or is one of them
No.
always? Yeah,
No.
one of them's always false.
Yeah. We used to play like that. I think when you did the podcast before, we did it where we could both be lying or both be telling the truth, but now it's one or the other. It's the twin paradox. One of us is lying.
It's so
Yeah.
much easier for everybody involved.
Yeah,
it's far fewer
a
variables.
lot less to explain.
Yeah.
And it's a lot less for you to remember while you're making a
And-
decision
and
after
also-
you hit that and that and this and that and this.
Yeah, we're all getting stoned throughout the whole thing, and that does throw me like a little bit of my detective skills are diminished as I get more baked.
That is
I kind
the
of
game, sir.
and but you guys also kind of make references to each other, like, oh yeah, I remember that and this, and that kind of gives each other's both credibility. And you
here's
make
the thing.
references that it could be.
Here's why
and
this is fun.
because you're teamed up together to do this to me. And frankly, at the end of the day,
All we do is lose our friends' trust. That's all this podcast is losing our friends' trust. Because I don't think that this stops here at the table and like the recording goes off.
Anything we tell anybody who's been on our podcast from here on out, they're like,
Yeah.
which one of you?
yeah. And here's the thing, is
Which
like,
is also part of the fun of the game.
when I was hammered doing this show, I didn't really give a shit which one of you was lying. I liked listening to the stories and making jokes through them, and I still do. But now I'm a more vulnerable person, and I do feel like one of you has definitely betrayed me, and it's definitely Scott, because there are no thin Tabithas. Final answer.
You're right. There's no
Fucking A!
Tabithas.
They're all fat. They've always been fat. There's no fucking Tabitha, chicken, or the egg. These parents are always fat people. They're always fat people, and they name their daughters Tabitha because they know they're going to be fat just like them.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
It's self-sabotage by
everything about that.
It's Munchausen with fatness by proxy every time.
Never fucked in the dumpster. Wasn't smoking crack at that time.
Well,
A lot of things about that story that
your
weren't true.
story also rang a little bit more true of the turmoil of this kind of toxic love, or fucking, there are people you have a connection with that you just will put up with anything until you have no choice otherwise. And in her case, she was like,
She reached her
"Fuck
breaking
you."
point. Yeah.
In the shitty, and also it rang so true
real
to what
quick,
garbage women
real quick,
are sometimes.
I do have to say this though, in her defense, and it's not a lot of defense, but in her defense a little bit. Her dad also did serious time for a drug offense. So like it's not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so
like
now she sells
her
drugs.
boy,
Hey,
her boyfriend,
understand.
her boyfriend calling her and being like, "I'm in jail for drugs," is, you know
Bought
what I'm
a
saying?
lot
Like,
of-
yeah, that's not the best news. Like you know what I'm saying? It's not. Yeah.
Just to take a little bit of the venom out of what I just said, obviously men beat the shit out of women and are terrible to women a lot of the time as well. but it just was like, that's the kind of shit they do to us.
Yeah. Which is why we
$90.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in the fucking can. And I was like, that's a woman. That's a real story right there. It was that, and there are no thin Tabithas.
Yeah.
All right.
This is a feminist podcast too. I feel like we really
we've nailed
exhibited that today.
Hey, look, I've grown as a person, and sometimes you grow to be a little bit meaner.
Plug your shit.
Yeah, where can we follow you?
Oh, man. At Keith Ray Alive on Instagram.
Okay.
Because I'm alive.
Because you are alive.
Yeah, still. And,
You're the most alive I've ever seen you, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel good. And I'm doing a show at
This won't be out for like
Shakespeare's.
5 weeks.
Oh, yeah.
No,
but,
it'll be like 2.
on a
yeah, that's
regular.
true.
Yeah, we've caught up.
We're doing I'm doing this show
Yeah, I don't know
every
why I
2
thought-
weeks.
Because the clips. That's why.
Yeah,
Start-
we have not caught up on clips. We failed.
Well, I'm doing the a headlining show at Shakespeare's on 6th Street.
Nice.
Wednesday night it's at 8 p.m. Every other Wednesday, starting the 8th of this month. So
Okay,
that'll
perfect.
let you know when those are in perpetuity in this little universe. And yeah, so you can come see me at Shakes. I'm performing all over Austin. I've got lots of dates this month and next month. I'm going to be on the road. I got a show down in Bisbee at the Hitchin Post. Going to be headlining that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see what else. I'll be Austin. I'm back,
Fuck yeah.
and
to
better
have
than
you.
ever.
Yeah, and always. Yeah,
Watch
you
watch
seem to be doing
Skip
really
and
well.
Chuck's Life Sucks on YouTube.
Thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for like really telling a genuine like
Well,
from
it was
your heart
powerful,
story. Yeah, that was
meaningful.
Like I've told that story to be silly so many times, and there's lots of things that are funny about that. Turns out, struggle breeds comedy, and but I wanted to tell it with some perspective for once, and maybe show a little love to somebody I care very much about, as opposed to just cracking wise about, oh, she's the hoodlum, that stole my heart or whatever.
The hoodlum that stole my heart.
The heart stealing hoodlum. That'll be the name of this episode.
That's a great name.
Yep. Alrighty, sir.
Hey, boys, thanks so much for having me.
Fucking thank you.
I love you both, like
I love
brothers.
you
Love you too, buddy.
Yeah. Thank you.